Matthew Carmel, and this is really an interesting story. It's about a prescription pistol that Matthew Carmel, I guess his company, was involved in getting to the FDA to get FDA approval.
We've
for
got
this.
a shot of it.
It's there you go. Exactly. It's almost like a pistol gun, one shot, and it's meant for old people, people with arthritis, to cure the arthritis. So I guess Matthew, you're on the phone there?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, great. It's the strategy room here. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
What happened? So you brought this prescription pistol for old folks and people with arthritis to get FDA approval, and what happened when you did that?
Well, I approached the FDA because I was concerned that if I advertised it, claiming that it was suitable for the handicapped or disabled and seniors, I might go afoul of some rule, and I just wanted to be, belt and suspenders. So I checked with them, and they said, indeed, you might be going afoul if you don't have this evaluated as a medical device.
And so you had it evaluated, and they said what?
Well, they led me to believe, that it would be a medical device. They told me what codes to use for registering it, for listing it, I should say.
Mm-hmm.
They instructed me to register my business as a medical device establishment, and I had various emails back and forth, and everything was going along very smooth. I think my registration took place on December 2nd. And yesterday in the afternoon, I got an email basically from the Public Affairs Department saying that they had decided it was not a medical device, and they were canceling my registration and listing and would refund my fees. So I can only assume it was perhaps due to political pressures or something like that.
Well, so do you just get to sell it now as a non-medical device, but say it'll help folks who have arthritis and various other ailments?
Well, of course, the government is not very clear in terms of what you can and can't do. I'm trying to still clarify that if they're telling me it's not regulated as a medical device and the FDA has no jurisdiction, then I assume that I'm free to say whatever I want. I don't know. I'll have to check this out further. But they are rather cryptic in their responses to me.
They do by email? That to me is amazing. You were notified by email?
Yes.
Not like instant message, or they didn't post it on your Facebook account.
I
mean, there's something that just seems so casual that the government notifies people by email.
Dr. Bond
Could you just tell the audience what the gun does?
Right.
Is this to inject medicine, or is to fire a bullet?
It's a single-shot firearm. It's specifically single-shot because a multi-shot firearm that doesn't have a traditional look as this one does might get banned by many states because many states don't understand firearms and they're frightened by them. So in order to keep this very simple and encounter as less difficulty as possible with the various states, the design is to be a single shot, which is clearly self-defensive firearm.
How many?
Now it's bilaterally symmetrical and ambidextrous. It has dual triggers at the distal ends of the stock/receiver.
Sounds useful to me.
Yeah.
Tom Ruskin's got a question.
How many old people
I'm sorry, I
approached?
couldn't hear you speaking over one another.
Okay. How many old people approached you to make a single-shot 9mm gun?
I didn't have any idea that the response would be as large as it has been. I thought this would be a niche market, perhaps 1,000 guns a year or something like that. It has completely overwhelmed me.
Wow.
I'm getting emails by the dozens, the score. I'm getting all sorts of stories from people. One gentleman in particular is standing out of my mind. He was saying he had a stroke. He was not going to live very long. His doctor said he didn't have much longer to live. He would not live to see the palm pistol, but he was calling to tell me how grateful he was that I had thought of the handicapped and seniors, and he wanted something like this for his kids one day.
Hey, Matthew, Bill Daly, question for you. What's it made of? It almost looks like it's an inhaler. Almost looks like made of plastic.
It's predominantly steel.
Steel.
It's not made yet. I'm still in design phases. This is all drawings. I'm going to be producing prototypes, hopefully third quarter 2009, and production would be hopefully sometime in 2010.
By getting turned down by the FDA, did you get more publicity behind this?
I guess that was sort of a side effect. I mean, my intent was, seniors, disabled are predominantly, are a vulnerable segment of society. They suffer a disproportionate share of being victims of crime. And I believe that seniors and disabled have every much as right to defend themselves, more so because they are vulnerable. And the same segment of the population are not rich people. They can't afford high-quality firearms to defend themselves. So people have asked me, is this going to have an effect on my plans? It doesn't have an effect on my plans. It affects the poor seniors and disabled who would otherwise been able to perhaps gotten private health insurance reimbursement, and I was going to argue and try and apply for a Medicaid reimbursement. I don't know if I would win or not, but I was going to make that effort. But now that the FDA has canceled my registration, the only ones that are really hurting are the seniors and the disabled, the very segment of the population that many within the certain political spectrums say we should try and protect.
So this is a reasonably priced firearm for those who are disabled or elderly.
I'm sorry?
This is a reasonably priced single-shot firearm for those who are disabled and elderly.
Is that your opinion? Or
No,
That's what we're asking.
is that what it is?
That's the estimated retail price is $300. Whether someone thinks that's expensive or not, I don't know.
Does that include bullets?
The one.
Cartridges.
Hey, did anybody, because I'm getting an email in from Robert out in Georgia, and he says, I see a suicide machine. Was there any concern about that?
Well, you can kill yourself with the New York Times. So I say that, it's a tool.
Okay.
Any other tool. It's a chainsaw, it's a hammer, a screwdriver. If people have some particular aversion to suicide by death, that's the only thing banning guns, suicide by gun. That's the only thing that banning guns would do.
It is a medical device.
Other means to commit suicide.
It's a medical device because you use it to stop your heart from beating forever.
No, it keeps the person who's using it, it keeps their heart beating.
Can't take him anywhere.
I know it.
I just can't take him anywhere. I know. I'm sorry,
Matt,
guys.
as a former law enforcement person who worked for 7 years in the streets of New York City fighting narcotics and the narcotics trade, I think that, has it ever come to your mind that drug dealers might like to use this as a protection?
I doubt very much that a drug dealer who doesn't follow the law, by definition, they're criminals. Criminals don't follow the law. They will get whatever guns they want. I don't care what the law says. And they're not going to go out and use a single-shot firearm.
Yeah, they look like
I disagree.
Matt, I disagree.
Absolutely
Matt, I disagree, and another former detective disagrees, because we know that our narcotics dealers like to carry something that doesn't look like a firearm, that they can either shoot someone who's an adversary on
With
the street
one bullet, though?
with one bullet.
Pen
Because
gun.
if
A
the
pen gun.
cops don't know it's a gun, they're not going to arrest
But I
them for
can't
the
imagine
gun.
you want to start anything with one bullet.
They'd preferably not, but if they can use it as a
50
defensive
cents
weapon.
guys are
get
not going
away.
to buy this.
I worked in narcotics for many years here in New York City, and I've locked up probably 400 guys with pistols here in New York. Every pistol that's probably ever been made, I've arrested perpetrators with. One of them was a pen gun, and I didn't realize it until I brought him to central booking. And we found a pen on him, which was an unusual pen, and it was the same type of device. It was cloaked as a pen to dissuade us from thinking, obviously, that it was a pistol. So
One shotgun?
one shot pistol,
pen.
one shot 9mm pistol, same as this.
Yeah.
You know, I think you're doing a disservice, by the way.
You're saying that out of 400 guys, one guy had a pen gun, and you're worried about this gun?
It's the same thing. It's one shot 9mm. What's the difference?
If it shoots one cop,
It takes
or
me
one
to the back of the head. He
person,
walks out of the car and
this
the
is a
store.
shot one-
Yeah, but
This
you
is
can
not
make
the
the
first
argument
time.
that
But
any
save
gun
one
could.
person.
Yeah, but this is also not the first time that there have been weapons, and that's exactly, I mean, we're talking about a weapon here. You know, can shoot one bullet, can look like something else. It certainly doesn't look like a gun, so if you're approaching someone, you really wouldn't know that it's a gun.
It happened
So
to me.
let's say a bad guy has it and shows it in front of a law enforcement officer.
Former
or
prosecutor, what would you do? Would you prosecute somebody? Answer, Bill. Would you prosecute somebody carrying this gun?
Well, I mean, the laws are very specific. I mean, you know, to prosecute somebody on a firearms charge, certain criteria have to be met, certain elements have to be met, and you know, why should there be a more onerous standard for this gun than anything else? And I think just to
By
follow
the
up on
way, if I may interject,
Go ahead.
the ATF. Hello.
Yes, go ahead.
Sorry, the ATF has reviewed it and classified it as a standard pistol, not AOW. It meets the definition of standard pistol. Steve Halbrook was my attorney. He's one of the nation's leading ATF attorneys, and it is clear that this is a standard pistol.
So
Okay,
why
so
design
again-
it as a
medical device.
an inhaler type of you know, to cloak it not as a pistol? What was the purpose of doing that?
To get the Medicaid money?
Say again, I didn't hear the question.
Why is it designed the way it's designed? Explain that. Explain your design.
Because I'm an NRA instructor, and I found that women and seniors who I would teach had great difficulty loading a cartridge into a magazine. As the follower compresses the spring, it gets much more and more difficult, and they have arthritic hands or weakness of the hands. Also, when using a traditional firearm, using an index finger for the trigger, right-handed people tend to pull the muzzle to the right, left-handed people tend to pull the muzzle to the left. By using the thumb, which is stronger than the index finger, you mitigate the drifting of the muzzle.
All right, Matthew, thank you.
Carmel, thank
Thanks
you
for
so
being
much
with
for
us.
calling.
Thank you.
Interesting.